Um, so thanks for showing up, everybody who is here. I especially want to thank Thomas Rain Crow, Ian Moore, and Adam Bigelow for coming to enliven things for us at this year's annual gathering. And thanks to our board members, some of whom are here helping out: Odell, Ron Robinson, Jonathan Bentley, Jeanette Cabanas Bruin, who should be here, as well as Thomas Rain Crow, who is also a board member. Also, to all those who have contributed to the Canary Coalition, participated in our activities, and volunteered throughout the year, thank you. In the year since our last membership gathering, much has happened. The Canary Coalition has been in the thick of the climate change movement and in the movement to fight against the influence of major corporations who are trying to stop and reverse progress on the issues of energy efficiency, conservation, renewable energy development, and the phasing out of fossil fuels and nuclear power. Last year, the Canary Coalition partnered with Occupy WNC to secure resolutions from 5 local governments in Western North Carolina, asking our state to join those who are demanding a U.S. constitutional amendment that will abolish corporate personhood and reverse the Supreme Court's Citizens United decision. Corporate personhood and the notion that money is a form of free speech has resulted in the wildly disproportionate influence of big business in American politics, including and especially the oil, coal, natural gas, and nuclear industries, who are rapidly driving us toward climate catastrophe. We've succeeded for 2 consecutive sessions in getting a statewide resolution introduced in both houses of the North Carolina General Assembly, but it's going to take a lot of work to get it passed, given the stranglehold corporate money has over the political system in our state. This movement is growing nationwide. 15 states to date have now petitioned Congress to amend the Constitution and to end corporate personhood. The Canary Coalition also partnered with Occupy WNC, the League of Women Voters, and the Smoky Mountain News in organizing a very successful local political candidate forum last October at the Silva Public Library Community Room. With the exception of the U.S. House race, all candidates from both parties attended, as well as a politically diverse crowd of people who packed the auditorium. Unlike many such forums these days, the candidates were confronted with pointed, meaningful questions from a panel made up of representatives of the sponsoring organizations, including ours. Topics included climate change, corporate personhood, genetically modified food labeling, money in politics, and the inability of the political parties to work together. It was broadcast live on WRGC and well reported in the press. On another front, the Canary Coalition continues to spearhead the movement toward utility rate restructuring in North Carolina. In the past year, we garnered the support of 12 organizations in support of House Bill 401, our legislative initiative on rate restructuring, including Bill McKibben and 350.org, Greenpeace USA, the Western North Carolina Alliance, Blue Ridge Environmental Defense League, North Carolina Interfaith Power and Light, Clean Air Carolina, and others. In 2013, we also increased the number of legislative sponsors over the 2011 bill as it was introduced again in both the House and Senate. Our strategy of building support from one session to the next is working so far. The rate restructuring proposal embodied in H401 directs the North Carolina Utilities Commission to design an inverted utility rate structure that will result in a 50% reduction in electrical energy consumption statewide over the next 10 years. Another provision of the bill creates an energy efficiency bank that will administer low-interest loans through the monthly utility bill for efficiency and rooftop solar energy projects to residential, commercial, and industrial ratepayers. This system will enable a transformation to a more efficient and renewable energy grid as it lowers monthly energy bills for ratepayers. Earlier this year, the Canary Coalition helped organize turnout at 2 public hearings held by the Utilities Commission on Duke Energy's Integrated Resource Plan, or IRP. The IRP outlines how the power company intends to meet energy demands in our state over the next 15 years. Duke Energy presented an IRP that relied almost entirely on new coal, natural gas, and nuclear energy, and almost no mention of energy efficiency or the further development of solar, wind, or other renewable energy resources. In response, the Canary Coalition delivered testimony and evidence outlining the potential of its rate restructuring proposal to dramatically reduce energy consumption, thereby eliminating the need to build any new polluting power plants, and even be the beginning of the process of shutting down plants to phase out the old technologies as we phase in renewable replacements. In March, the Utilities Commission announced that it was rejecting Duke Energy's IRP as written and directed the company to answer 19 questions in the process of completing its plan. The first question referred to 2011 House Bill 135, which is identical to House Bill 401 of 2013, the Canary Coalition's legislative proposal on rate restructuring. The question the Commission is forcing Duke Energy to confront is, quote, would an inverted tiered block rate structure result in lower rates for utility customers, unquote. In other words, our voices are being heard and our proposals are being discussed at the highest levels of the regulatory agency. Despite the political challenge in Raleigh, we are making inroads. We have a petition in support of H401 at our information table. If you haven't already, please sign it and take a copy, or at least one copy, to bring around to your friends, family, office workers, and other acquaintances. In another venue, the Canary Coalition has a seat on the statewide steering committee of the Association of Groups who implemented the first Climate Convergence on Raleigh this year. We led the legislative task force and developed the issue platform for this group. This action in April involved more than a dozen organizations in 7 municipalities throughout the state. It received widespread media coverage, involved important legislators and community leaders, and served as a valuable educational forum for hundreds who attended the various rallies, marches, workshops, and panel discussions that unfolded during the week-long action in Sylva, Asheville, Boone, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, Chapel Hill, and Raleigh. We are already beginning to plan for a bigger and better series of events next year. In addition to working on our own initiatives, the Canary Coalition is lending strong support to some important initiatives of other organizations involved with parallel issues. Our Real News project has captured video footage and produced YouTube reports on a nuclear energy forum in Asheville, a march to commemorate the first anniversary of the Fukushima nuclear accident, a workshop on fracking by the Blue Ridge Environmental Defense League, a panel discussion on growing food in a new climate, an imperative presentation by Dr. Robert Bruck about the scientific methodology behind the certainty of climate change, the Forward on Climate March in Washington, D.C. in February, the events happening outside the Democratic National Convention in Charlotte last September, a panel discussion on permaculture in Asheville last summer, a protest against Bank of America at its shareholders meeting in Charlotte, a nonviolent civil disobedience training session prior to the 99% spring in Charlotte, a Moral Monday demonstration in Raleigh, and much, much more. The Real News Project will continue and hopefully expand in the coming year. The Canary Coalition's application for a permit to operate a full-power FM radio station in Dillsboro is still pending as we continue to await the FCC's decision from a legal challenge by Western Carolina University, who wants the same frequency to broadcast its sporting events to a wider region than its current low-power radio station. I'll finish by explaining that our organization is doing all this on a shoestring budget, surviving from one financial crisis to the next. So far, we've paid the office rent and all the bills through this month, but it seems that we're perpetually wondering where the money will come for next month. You see, we're unusual in the sense that we're very particular about from whom we accept money. We have no mandatory membership fees because we don't want to discourage anyone from participating regardless of his or her financial status. And we don't accept donations from polluting industries or from grant foundations funded by polluting industries or any source that might represent a conflict of interest to our mission. So what's left is the voluntary donations of individuals, organizations, and businesses who believe in and strongly support the work we are doing. That is the nature of a true grassroots organization, and there are very few of us still around. We may be the only one in Western North Carolina operating on a regular basis. And I leave you with that thought. Thank you.